This week on Country Music Junkies, we have a new artist to introduce you to. His name is Stephen Hunley, and he is from Knoxville, Tennessee, and we are so pleased to have him on the phone today. Thank you so much for joining us, Stephen. How are things going?
They're going great, Patrice, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be on your show, and just very thankful for the opportunity.
Well, we are very thankful to have you on the show and to talk to you about everything that's going on in your music career. Let's start with, I guess, the most recent thing, the release of your new single, Elizabeth. It is an awesome tune. I know I was telling you offline how much I love it. So can you take us back to sort of when that song began and the story behind it and all of that sort of stuff?
Oh, my goodness. Believe it or not, I wrote that song probably 4 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago when I wrote the song. Yeah, it's a song that goes back a ways. From the infant stages when I first began kind of penning it. And, it kind of came from a personal experience, actually, with my wife. We were, we were really good friends before we started dating, and both we never could really figure it out. I think we both knew we had feelings for each other, but we cared for each other so much that we didn't want to, ruin the friendship we had. So it's kind of one of those songs. It comes out as it comes out like she's leaving me or whatever, and I'm trying to take her down. But it was really more along the lines of we just couldn't get on the same page. She had things that she wanted to do, and I had things that I wanted to do, but fortunately, in the end, it kind of all came together, and I actually married Elizabeth last October.
Oh.
So we've been married for a little over a year now, and it's awesome. So it's kind of it's true to life. It's not like I said. It's the song kind of comes across as me kind of chasing her around, and like she wanted to have nothing to do with me or she was over me, but it's really more from the standpoint of us just trying to get on the same page, and so one day I just called her up and said, hey, look, I'm moving to Nashville. I want to try to do this songwriting thing, and you want to go with me? And lucky for me, but she's my best friend and soulmate, lucky for me, she said yes, and so within a year after being here, we were married. I think we'd been in Nashville maybe 13 months, and we were engaged. Let's see, we got to Nashville 6 months later. I proposed to her, and then 6 months later we were married after that. So.
Wow, that is a great story. I had no idea that there was such a authentic story behind it. That makes the song so much better, and I already loved it. So that is awesome. Very, very cool. So fans, be sure to check it out. If you haven't heard it, you can head over to StephenHunley.com. I'll also provide links online for you to check that out. So, Stephen, you mentioned you're new to Nashville. When did you kind of decide that, you really wanted to make music a career? Is music something that's been a part of your life forever? Kind of take us back to when that began.
Yeah, my uncle, his name is Hunley, and he was he still is. He's still singing better than ever, really. But he had a deal with Warner Brothers and Capitol and MCA down here in Nashville back in the late '70s and early '80s. And so he had a country music career. So I grew up going to some of his shows, like he did New Year's Eve shows close to my hometown of Knoxville. And so anyway, just kind of grew up around music. And really from my dad's mom and dad, everybody played music, my grandfather, my grandmother, all my aunts and uncles, and just being around that growing up. And then my uncle actually had some commercial success. He actually was a recording artist for some major labels back in the 70s and 80s, and had some really, really good success. I think he had 20 top 20 hits, I think. He never had that number one, but so anyway, I was just surrounded, just my family's just drenched in talent, and I'm probably like the 10th or 12th most talented person in my family, honestly. but my Uncle Tim had a knack for writing, and I think, and Con writes too, but he was really more of a, in the 70s and 80s, he was more of a performer than, he wasn't writing much of his material. He's a great writer, he just didn't do it. And I always just had this longing to write, and then the singing just kind of came out afterwards, and but anyway, growing up around Con, long story short, growing up around him and around my grandparents, was huge, going to his shows. My mom and dad, Steve and Kim Hunley, they actually got me piano and violin lessons when I was young. I took them from about 5 to 10, but I was more interested in sports, and I was taking Suzuki lessons, classical music training, and it was just a little, it was a little too rigid for me.
Understandable, for sure.
It's not for everybody. I admire people who can be that disciplined and that devoted to something, and be that precise. But I have too much ADD to try to be perfect, if that makes sense. I mean,
for sure.
That's just kind of the undiagnosed ADD. Let's just put it that way. But I have a strong suspicion that I may be a little on the attention deficit sometimes. So.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, it's working for you. You've been able to produce some great music so far, and I mean, it's really quite an original sound as well. How would you describe the way that you sound and the way that your music kind of comes out for fans to listen to?
Honestly, it's like, and I think a lot of artists would tell you this. Since I started recording music and trying to do it as a profession, I listen to music much more analytically, not other music, but my music in particular. So, in other words, when I hear myself sing, I hear all the flaws. And usually all the flaws, things that I see as flaws, are the things that people end up telling me they like about my voice or about my songs or whatever. So, I just hear little things and little inflections and the way I phrase something, it just comes out the way it comes out. And my producer, Burton Akers, who I attribute a lot of the sound, kind of the sound around my songs that we have developed. I mean, he's really cultivated that and helped me find that sound, and also with the guys that play on the record, So, you got Burton Akers plays bass, Tony Creason does drums, Greg English and Jerry Midkix play guitar, Eric Darkin did percussion, Jason Webb and Stan Williamson on keyboards and piano, and so. A lot of times I take my song in a very raw form, me and a guitar, me and a piano, and then we just sit in the studio and we just start bouncing ideas off each other. And a lot of times these songs, like when we start to record them, the sound we thought we were going to go for, a lot of times it goes another route or it goes another way, or a certain guy or girl is inspired to play a certain thing. One of the studio players playing in the studio or inspired to play a certain thing, maybe by the way I sing a certain word or the way I phrase a certain word. And so a lot of times the sound is, I don't think when we go in, we have a general idea, a general direction where we want to go, but we try not to go in too specific because, yes, I want to get my ideas across and my thoughts across, but I want everybody else that plays on the record, I want them to feel free to be creative. If a guitar player hears a certain tone or a certain lick or something that I'm not hearing, it may be better than what I was hearing in my head. Does that make sense? Oh,
absolutely.
And so a lot of times these sounds for these songs kind of come together right there on the floor, because we do it the old-fashioned way, where we just kind of go in there and plug in and play, and we'll do 2 or 3 different takes of it, and so it's not a whole lot. It's not very much digital manipulation. We don't use a whole lot of tuning, on vocals and things like that. So we kind of keep it as it's polished playing, but we try not to over polish it, if you will. We try to leave some of that organic human element in the music. So. I hope that answers your question. I know I kind of
it absolutely did answer my question, and I appreciate the thorough answers for sure. Now, fans, if you want to check out Stephen Hunley's CD, you can go to his website again, stephenhunley.com. The album is called The Other Side of Never, and you can pick it up on there. Stephen, what is next for you? What's up coming up in 2015?
Well, we're working on getting some tour dates. We got a few lined up here in Nashville, and then I've got a date in Austin, Texas, during South by Southwest. But that's where I'm at now. Is really trying to get some regional dates and then hopefully some national dates at some point and get on with a tour more and really just get my music out there where it can be heard. You know, I mean, we made the video for Elizabeth, and that's going to help. You know, that's going to help people hear it. But people want to see it and touch it and be close to it too. You know, I mean, people still still crave the live performance, I guess. So that's what we're working on now. You know, we finished the record, and we're hoping this record will lead to some dates and some more exposure opportunities.
Great. Well, we wish you the best of luck with that, and thank you so much for chatting with us today. And again, fans, head to StephenHunley.com. Yep. There are links to his Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of those social media outlets, so be sure to check it out. Stephen, thank you so much.
Patrice, thank you very much, and I hope all your Canadian friends can forgive my East Tennessee accent.